Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to talk about Godzilla, King of the Monsters. The third movie in the Monsterverse, I believe legendary Warner Brothers pictures and companies are calling it. This comes after Godzilla, the one in 2014, and then Kong Skull Island, and could have been better. I know a lot of complaints I see online are about too much monsters, or not enough monsters, depending on who you're reading, and then too much human bull crap, essentially. But let's talk about it. So, if you're talking about purely the monster bit of the film, it's good. It's baller, and I saw it in IMAX, and the volume, at least from my theater, I'm not sure if this is for, you know, nationwide or AMC wide or whatever your chain is, but my volume was like set to the max, and so every time a bass would hit, and a bass, not of a song, but the bassy boom of like Godzilla's foot or another creature's foot hitting the ground shook my chair and like reverberated my ears, and just, it was rough, but it did help emphasize the impact and how meaty and thick those boys were. So that was cool. The monsters fighting each other were cool. There's a lot less shots of a monster fighting and then we cut away from it, kind of like Godzilla in 2014 did. Yes, I get that you could say that's artistically done on purpose. If you ever want to talk about that in a positive light, go watch Cinema Wins. He did a video on it and perfectly explained how that is a cool build-up. And I get that side, but I also get the side of we want more monsters. This movie does have a lot more monsters. Rodan, Mothra, King, whatever his name is, it's not even said in the film, I think more than like once, maybe twice. He's really referred to as a number, and it's dumb. They used Mothra's name a lot, but not this other character. They only mentioned Rodan maybe once, maybe. Yeah, actually I think once it's his name is said. So there's monsters aplenty, because even in the trailers you could see that there's a plethora of them, but it's not as much as I think people let on. A lot of people I saw, I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to bring down to certain YouTubers or anything, or certain critics, but it wasn't as much as they were proclaiming. I can see if you go and watch a movie, it's hard. Like if you go and watch Rudy, a classic football film, and you're like, oh, there's way too much football. There's not. Yes, there is football in the movie. It is a football movie, kind of like how Godzilla is a monster movie, but that's not the main precedence. The precedence of Rudy and the main focal point is the character himself. It's his journey through life, through his family, through his friends, through school, through practice, and then we do see some football. Yes, there's football in the practice, but not like football, not like the game, the impact, the hard hitting, win or lose situations. In Godzilla, the main focus is not him at all. The main character is Mark Russell is his name. I had to look at it because I swear it's not said a lot. Played by Kyle Chandler. He did good, not great by any means, but it's his movie. It should say Mark Russell, servant to the King of the Monsters, featuring Godzilla. Because really, if you did the runtime, I guarantee he has the most runtime. Maybe second to Vera Farmiga. I'm sorry, mispronounced that. I liked you in Get Up, or whatever that movie was with the airplanes and George Clooney. I think it was just Up. I don't know. Sorry. I do like you, but you're also in this a lot. And then Millie Bobby Brown is somewhat scattered throughout it, and the same thing with Ken Watanabe and a couple other cast and crew. But the point is that Mark Russell is like the main character, and it's not Godzilla. Yes, Godzilla is featured throughout this time, and you could definitely see that the film crew listened to people's complaints about the first Godzilla film back in 2014. I keep on saying the first one in 2014 because obviously there's a plethora of Godzilla films. My gosh, there's a lot of them. Go check them out if you could ever find them. But if the movie is called Godzilla King of the Monsters, I want to see Godzilla a lot, and I feel like I really didn't. There's a meme I saw, or not a meme, but an Instagram post from, I forget who, but it did the actual runtime of each character in Avengers Endgame. And of course, Captain America and Tony were the top two. And it makes sense. And then trickled down, you can see the rest of the cast and crew. There's a main focal point of the original 6 Avengers, and then other people scattered throughout. Makes sense. It's an Avengers film. The Avengers should be the most prominent thing there. But here, it's just some random dude who's not even a doctor or military guy, but he's ordering these doctors and military guys around like he knows fucking everything. Sorry, oof, that came out. This movie gets me a little irked. Side note, I swear that every character other than Kyle Chandler's character, that Mark guy, I swear every other one either is a doctor, a super doctor, a colonel, a chief, sergeant. There's a name for everyone, like a surname, whatever you want to call it. They all have fracking titles except for Mark. So everyone's like, Dr. what's his name? Ishiro, or Dr. Chen, or Dr. Stanton, Dr. Graham, Colonel Foster, Chief Warrant Officer Barnes, Admiral William Stintz, Staff Sergeant Martinez, Mark. What the frack? You could have put more people in there. The only people that are not any titles is Kyle Chandler's character and then Millie Bobby Brown's character. Those are the only two that really don't have any freaking titles. I'm looking at like the top 20. Okay, like 3 guys. No, there's a senator. That counts. Executive officer. That counts. There's a guy named Jonah Allen, played by Charles Dance from Game of Thrones, but I think he would still have a title. He's kind of a commander of a certain group. That it really didn't show what his positioning in the film is. So I'm not going to talk about him a lot because I really can't, because there's no really spoilers. I mean, spoiler alert, Godzilla's not going to die in his film. They kind of need him for, Godzilla versus King Kong that we all know is coming eventually. And the movie hints a lot at Kong. It talks about him a lot. There's probably like more footage of him than some of the other monsters shown in the trailer, honestly. If you count name drops, pictures in like ancient stuff, and like actual footage from Skull Island, and or just bonus clips of what they made, whatever, maybe unused clips, he's probably in it more than like Rodan. Obviously it's a bit exaggeration, but he's in there a lot, but just by like a lot of mention. We all know this happens, but Godzilla doesn't die. Obviously Godzilla, like, he's badass. Like, the monsters are badass, if I didn't say that the first time. But you could have done so much more. There's such a convoluted BS family plot that there's like plot twists in there, but you're just like, I don't have any way of knowing why a character did a certain way, why they faked it out, and then why they went a different route later. Why did they have a change of heart? There's so many things that I just don't get that came into play in a movie where I should have just saw Godzilla like uppercut like Rodan or something, or Mothra pick up Godzilla. I don't know if it's possible, maybe in the cheesy old school Godzilla ones, but Mothra picking up Godzilla for like a superhero landing. I don't know. I was looking for ridiculousness. So when people were like, oh, there's so much monster action, like, you're gonna love all this, I was like, frick yes, there's gonna be all this. There's really not. And that's the problem with this movie. When I see Godzilla versus King Kong in the future, it better be a motherfracking smackdown. It sets it up to where it easily could be a massive smackdown. It needs to happen. Like, here's the motherfrickin' T, or whatever that stupid meme is. I want actual 50-50. If it's a Godzilla film and a King Kong film, I want them to be like the motherfracking Avengers, like Tony Stark and Iron Man up here. I want them to be the main characters. Yes, it's a bit hard when the character can't speak, but we've seen that done before. Characters that are the main characters don't have to speak for us to get them. It might be a little hard when it's a towering behemoth of a motherfracking monster, that like literally kills everything except for main characters, and you know, I guess their children are up for grabs. But you know, like, frack, Wally did it great. Yes, he's obviously a little bit more animated and can do facial expressions, if you get what I mean, with his like eyebrows and stuff. But there's ways to do it. Yes, it's going to be a lot of hard work and it can be hit or miss, but it's got to be worth it because holy frack, look at it now. This movie, if we go and look, has only made, oh my gosh, where'd it go? Has only made 181 million, and it's been out for, how long has it been out? 4 days. It had a 170 budget, so yes, that is like, you're like, oh well, it made its budget, it can easily double it. Yes, it could double it, but in an age of big blockbuster movies, in an age of like, you could have, it literally gives you all the monsters from all the crappy movies here. You would think it would have made more, especially in countries where Godzilla and the story of it originated and it's part of their culture. Well, maybe not really, but I mean, in a couple animes I see references to Godzilla a lot in a joking, fun manner. So I think it's still part there. I'm not 100% sure. But it didn't do amazing over there. It hasn't done amazing here. So what are you going to do about it? More fights, more action, less family BS. I don't want to get into all the family BS because there's plot twists, but I was so done with a certain character. What was her name? Dr. Emma Russell. Oh my gosh, I was so done. She's played by Vera. You know, she did okay. It's just that the character just did not make sense. I did not like it. And I'm complaining a lot about this film, but the action was tight. There was a lot of gripping scenes, and actually like a moment where I was like, oh goodness, and like had to fan myself. Not really, but like, you know, you get this sensation like, oh you know, a couple of those. And so it's not a terrible movie. I've seen terrible movies. This is not a terrible movie. I was involved with the film the entire way. It's kind of weird, and even seeing it IMAX didn't help too much. I don't know. It's a 5 out of 10, and if you're a huge Godzilla fan, then yeah, you're gonna love it. There's a lot of Godzilla action. If you're a fan of any of the monsters in there, then fracking go watch it. It's going to be worth your money, probably. Don't quote me on that. But if you were like, the first Godzilla was alright, or like, you're like, maybe I should check out Godzilla, now's not the time. Go back to Bryan Cranston's time, or go back to the OG Godzilla with the dude in the suit. Oh, and don't stay for the end credit. Holy bejeebus, not worth it. Just look it up and read it. It's going to save your time. But that's it. I guess if you're a Superman super fan, you can go see it. Other than that, though, Redbox it, Netflix it, whatever it goes to first. But I hope you liked this video. If you like what you saw, hit that like or subscribe button. And if you really liked it, tell a friend. That's the greatest way to spread the channel there. And I'll see you guys in the next one.